Killing one's mother is a graver sin than killing one's father. Committing any of the 5 heinous crimes or 10 evil deeds leads to the karmic retribution of falling into a Vici hell, the hell of uninterrupted suffering. All 5 heinous acts are extremely serious offenses. Among them, killing one's own parent ranks as one of the gravest. According to the reference material on page 20, the Dictionary of Buddhist Terms and Concepts outlines the relative severity of these crimes. In the Treatise on the Meaning of Mahayana, Volume 7, it is stated, "Killing one's father is the least severe among the 5 heinous crimes. However, this is only a relative comparison. Even the least severe among them still leads to rebirth in a Vici hell. Killing one's own mother is considered more serious than killing one's own father, because a mother's kindness and sacrifice are even greater. She gave birth to you, raised you, and took care of you with selfless devotion. For this reason, the karmic offense of killing one's mother is even heavier than that of killing one's father. Killing an arhat is even graver than killing one's mother. Killing an arhat ranks next in severity. Killing an arhat is an even more serious offense than killing one's mother. Why is that? Because an arhat is a spiritual teacher, a guide who brings Dharma to the people in a region. If you kill him, you are cutting off the Dharma lifeline for all those he teaches. Their Dharma body and wisdom life are severed at your hands. You must bear the karmic consequences of this. To destroy someone's path to liberation is far worse than ending their physical life. This is something you must understand. Not knowing is not an excuse. If you act in ignorance, you still must bear the consequences. The Diamond Sutra is truly precious. In ancient China, even scholars who were not Buddhist practitioners all read the Diamond Sutra, because at crucial moments it becomes effective. All appearances are illusory. This reminds us, since all appearances are false, why cling to them in our hearts? Once we hold on to them, the mind becomes defiled, the mind becomes agitated, and purity and equality are lost. When purity and equality are lost, this mind gives rise to afflictions, not wisdom. If one is not swayed by external circumstances, if one is not disturbed by the outer world, then the mind remains pure and equal. And such a mind gives rise to wisdom, not affliction. This is of utmost importance. The profound treasury of the Avatamsaka Sutra, the subtle essence of the Lotus Sutra, all are contained within this sutra. Principle refers to the ultimate reality, that is, suchness, the true nature, the fundamental essence. This is what we often call the true suchness of reality. The original source of truth refers to the true mind. To accord with this truth, this sutra is founded upon true wisdom, reveals the reality of ultimate truth, bestows the benefits of truth, and is pure, singular, and thoroughly real. This sutra teaches us 3 great truths. We hope to attain them. We must live each day with the true mind. To willingly live with the true mind is to live the life of a Buddha or a Bodhisattva. Worldly people live with the deluded mind. But from the Infinite Life Sutra, we learn to return to the true mind and no longer follow the deluded mind. In Mahayana teachings, it is often said, apart from the mind, no Dharma exists. Apart from Dharma, no mind can be found. Mind and Dharma are one, not two. When deluded, we see them as two. When awakened, we realize they are not separate. They are the inherent wisdom, virtue, and appearance of our true nature. The Buddha taught us that within our true nature there is wisdom, there is virtue and ability, and there are perfect characteristics. These are all innately present within us, not acquired from the outside. Why does this mind give rise to afflictions, but not to wisdom? The Diamond Sutra is truly precious. In ancient China, even scholars who were not Buddhist practitioners all read the Diamond Sutra, because at crucial moments it becomes effective. All appearances are illusory. This reminds us, since all appearances are false, Why cling to them in our hearts? Once we hold on to them, the mind becomes defiled, the mind becomes agitated, and purity and equality are lost. When purity and equality are lost, this mind gives rise to afflictions, not wisdom. If one is not swayed by external circumstances, if one is not disturbed by the outer world, then the mind remains pure and equal. And such a mind gives rise to wisdom, not affliction. This is of utmost importance. No copyright, no profit. How did this Buddhist scripture spread across the world? When the first draft was completed, it was printed using a mimeograph machine. I estimate that around 100 copies were made because we were quite familiar with mimeograph wax stencils. Once they're used too many times, the print becomes illegible. Among those, he likely selected the clearest set to bring to the United States. That was in 1985. We met in the US, but only communicated by phone, never in person. He found out that I was giving Dharma talks on the compendium version of the Infinite Life Sutra, Wuliang Shujing, and he was delighted. He mailed me the copy of the great commentary on the Infinite Life Sutra that he had brought to the US. After reading it, I too was overjoyed. It had just been completed. I called him and asked, "Is there any copyright on this?" He asked me, "What do you mean?" I said, "If there's a copyright, I will respect it. I wouldn't dare to reprint it. But if there isn't one, I would like to bring it to Taiwan and have it reprinted." He said, "There's no copyright," and even asked me to write a foreword for it and inscribe the title on the cover. I agreed to both. So in Taiwan, 10,000 copies were printed. That was the very first edition. The version we are using today has been revised several times since then, what we call the corrected edition. Some new content was added, especially in the sections related to science, and now it has become the finalized standard edition. If the mind is defiled, if it is stirred, if it becomes like waves, that is the deluded mind. When Master Huineng attained enlightenment, the fourth line he spoke was, "Who would have thought the self-nature is originally unmoving? The self-nature is the true mind. The true mind has never wavered. To be unmoving is to be equal, like a cup of still water. This is why when we make offerings to the Buddha, even if we lack other offerings, we must offer a cup of water. What does the water represent? It represents purity and equality. It is not something the Buddha needs. It is something we need. When we see that cup of water before the Buddha, it constantly reminds us, let my mind remain pure and equal. It carries no other meaning. Why is this so? Because purity and equality are the true mind. If the mind becomes defiled, if it becomes agitated, if it rises into waves, then it is the deluded mind." Who is Elder Shia? He is someone with great compassion and true wisdom. He possesses both compassion and wisdom, and is proficient in both the Chan school and the teaching school. Chan refers to the Chan Zen tradition, while teachings refer to the doctrinal schools. All 7 schools aside from Chan are called the teaching school. Thus, he is said to have mastery of both Chan and teachings. He harmonized the exoteric and esoteric teachings. Chan and teachings belong to the exoteric. Apart from these, there is also the esoteric school, Tantra. He also practiced the esoteric school with notable achievement. Therefore, he devoted effort to the exoteric teachings, the esoteric teachings, the Chan school, and the Pure Land school. In his later years, he wholeheartedly promoted the practice of reciting the Buddha's name as a way to encompass all virtues. How can one avoid being defiled? Defilement refers to being affected by external conditions and internal emotional consciousness. When the eyes see forms, when the ears hear sounds, the 6 senses come into contact with the outside world, and this stirs emotional consciousness. Emotional consciousness is defilement. It gives rise to greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt. It draws out the craving for wealth, sensual pleasure, fame, and gain. It triggers the 7 emotions and 5 desires. At that point, your mind becomes defiled. Your mind loses its equality. This requires effort, true spiritual effort. What kind of effort? To not be tempted by external conditions. That is the way. When external situations appear, do not let them enter your heart. Instead, observe them with wisdom. Where does true wisdom come from? The ultimate reality, what ordinary people call truth. In Mahayana Buddhism, it is called the true nature, the Dharma nature, the suchness of one's original nature. How can one realize it? By relying on true wisdom. And where does true wisdom come from? It is innate within your own nature. It does not come from outside. The true wisdom of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas naturally shines forth. They apply it in daily life. They apply it in their work. They apply it in how they treat others and respond to the world. True wisdom arises from the true mind. The true mind gives rise to wisdom. The true mind is a pure mind, a mind of equality. Purity belongs to the Theravada tradition. It is undefiled. Equality belongs to the Mahayana. It is unmoved. Purity means no defilement. Equality means no disturbance. Purity and equality, this is samadhi. And the true nature is originally in samadhi.